Hello and welcome back to another video brought to you by Truth About Training. Today we're going to be talking about the different types of muscle contraction that you can utilise within your training to keep the progress going and make those strength and fitness goals achievable. So before we jump into what type of contractions there are, how we can use them for your training and how you can best utilise them, let's first take a look at the muscle in a bit more detail. Usually when we picture the muscle, we picture it as a single unit, but it can be broken down even further. Here we have it broken down into its basic structure, with the outer covering, known as the epimysium, the inner connective tissue, perimysium, and then the individual connective tissue around each muscle fibre, known as the endomysium. These collectively work together to keep the muscle compact and tight and allow for ease of sliding during contraction and relaxation of the muscle fibres. When we experience muscular hypertrophy, these individual muscle fibres grow in size as well as number, causing the muscle to swell as the space between the connective tissue disappears. The number of muscle fibres present in a muscle varies depending on role and location. For example, in the tensor pani, a small muscle within the ear that attaches to the eardrum, there are around 700 muscle fibres. This sounds like a lot until you compare it with the medial gastrocs, the calf muscle, where there is well over 1 million muscle fibres that can contract. So now that we have a bit more knowledge about how the muscle works and what's inside it, let's take a look at the different types of muscle contractions that can occur. There are three main types: isometric, concentric, and eccentric. These commonly work together during daily activities such as walking and running, but we're going to look at them individually to get a better understanding. So with isometric, no movement occurs in the joint or the muscle. Even though tension builds up within the muscle, it is not great enough to cause movement against the resistance that is provided. Concentric is when the muscle shortens. This is usually seen easiest with a bicep curl as you bring the forearm closer to the main arm. So the last type is eccentric. This is when the muscle lengthens under tension and is usually called the negative phase of a muscle contraction. During training, most people are just focused on the concentric part of the muscle contraction, and they think to get stronger they must increase the weight on this and always lift heavier. However, having a better understanding of all three types of contractions will really benefit you when it comes to training, because you'll be able to manipulate the other two types, which can lead to better strength gains and over a longer period, because you can keep challenging yourself and bringing in progressive overload much more than if you was just to focus on the concentric part of contractions. So let's take a little look at the eccentric contraction. This generates greater force under tension than concentric or isometric exercises. This leads to increased micro tears occurring within the muscle. These micro tears will then stimulate satellite cells growth, which will differentiate and fuse within the muscle fibre to increase cross-sectional fibre size, resulting in greater muscle mass. It is worth noting that other reactions do occur during micro tears and muscle damage, such as the transforming growth factor beta, but more research is currently being done on their role within muscle growth and muscle hypertrophy. If you are new to the gym and weightlifting, it's worth keeping in mind that performing intense eccentric exercises over a prolonged period of time will cause you to develop rhabdomyolysis. This is the breakdown of damaged skeletal muscle, resulting in increased myoglobin being present in the bloodstream. Now, myoglobin is the protein that delivers and stores oxygen within the muscle cells. With this increased myoglobin in the bloodstream, it can give you an increased risk of developing kidney damage. So a low intensity is recommended to begin with. However, this is quite easy to achieve, because if you were to perform, say, an exercise of the bicep curl, during the down phase, you can just hold it for 4 seconds, increasing that eccentric load and generating more force throughout the muscle as it lengthens. Now, some of you might be wondering, when and how do you use isometric contractions to increase strength and muscle hypertrophy? Well, if you've ever performed an exercise such as the plank or maybe even the wall sit, you'll be working isometrically there, and you know how tough they can be. But how can we use this in other exercises, say such as the pull-up? Now the pull-up is a really difficult exercise to do anyway, and if you don't have resistance bands to make the movement easier, then the use of isometric exercises can really help. So with this, you'd look to get yourself up to about the mid position. So you jump up and hold the bar and pull up as high as you can go, and then just hold. Hold for as long as you can. By holding in this position for as long as possible, you'll be training your muscles to work on their rate of force production, which basically means how quickly can they produce the required force. Now with progress, you'd look to try and increase the full range of motion within this exercise. You wouldn't always look to just hold it, but this is a good place to start to build up your strength and groove the motor patterns that you need in order to complete the full rep. Combining these three types of muscle contractions into your training program, you'll be able to build a more well-rounded strength within yourself, as well as being able to keep progressing and challenging yourself in more ways than one. And with that, it's the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this is something that you can take into your training program as well. And of course, let me and Theo know if you do incorporate this and how you find it within your training. Make sure to leave a big thumbs up and subscribe down below, and I'll see you in the next video.